I gotta say, my first 40 years as a packaging media editor have gone by fast. I've seen a lot and learned a lot. When I started in 1982, I was so lucky to work with Bruce Holmgren. He was the editorial director of Package Engineering magazine. He was a gentleman and a scholar for the industry. He probably wrote hundreds of plant stories where he would visit a facility and then write about the packaging operation there. This was back in the good old days before 9/11 and COVID, when it was easier to get permission to tour a facility. I learned so much from his articles about how packaging operations work and why they work. Once I started getting into plants and doing my own articles, I knew what to look for and what questions to ask to get the real story. I realized early on the value of understanding how packaging machines run and how packaging lines flow, and how with this understanding I could analyze not just the product's packaging design, but its viability in the market. Because if a package can't be run efficiently on a production line, the product is not going to make it. My advice to anyone, everyone in the industry: learn the basics of how products are packaged on automated machines, even if that's not your area of interest or expertise. It's the best foundation. Try as I might, my family doesn't share my passion for packaging or media publishing, but I have managed to draw some of them into my world a couple of times. In the 1980s, I volunteered my sons, Matt and Jake, who were teens at the time, to participate in a panel discussion for a sister publication. That publication had wanted to get insights into what teenagers liked or didn't like about food service foods. My kids were quoted and had their pictures in an article. They did a great job, and I was so proud of them. We still have copies of that issue. More recently, my grandson, JJ, had a close encounter with a bottle of vodka in the shape of an alien head with big dark black eyes that was sitting on my my home office desk here. He and I were playing with Marble Run, I think it was, in the same room. He saw the bottle and asked me what it was. I told him I was writing about it for work and wasn't it cool. He just looked at me and went back to playing. But a couple of minutes later, I saw him get up and turn the bottle around so it wasn't looking at him, and that still makes me laugh. Sustainability has shifted quite a bit over the last 20 years, from almost a singular focus on recycling to a much broader and a more comprehensive view of a circular economy. And I hear new ideas all the time, which is great. I had breakfast recently with David Lutenberger, the global packaging director at consumer insights company Mintel. He told me that he wants to he's trying to replace the word sustainability with a better, one that's better descriptive. And he said responsible. So we'd be calling it responsible packaging, not sustainable packaging. This makes sense to me for a couple of reasons, but partly because we see a lot more activity here in the US with extended producer responsibility laws, or EPR laws, for packaging. And responsible, the word responsible broadens the implication beyond environmental to ethical too, and I like that. But there are a couple of things about sustainability recently that I don't think I like. The first one, even though I understand how and why the anti-plastic packaging movement started, I'm disappointed that brand owners are running away from plastic packaging without a fight, without even trying to explain its value. And there is value. Many times from a life cycle view, plastic packaging is the best option from an environmental point of view. Take clear PET bottles, for example. PET is the highest recycled packaging plastic, which means there's an infrastructure in place to process it. Plus, the demand for the recycled material is healthy and growing as more companies set goals for recycled content in their packages. It's lightweight, it has good barrier properties. Why would anyone willingly walk away from it? But here's why I think the recent actions of brand owners are so dangerous. When consumer sentiment shifts, how hard will it be to undo the messages that plastic packaging is bad? And you can't tell me that that won't or can't happen, because we saw the demand for single-use, mostly plastic packaging spike actually during the COVID-19 pandemic from a hygienic point of view, the need for hygiene. So that's one issue. The other hiccup about sustainability today that's got me thinking is this: the bigger picture issue of climate change connects with carbon footprint. And carbon footprint is most definitely connected to packaging. So it makes sense that packaging should shoulder some of the blame for climate change. That's a real big connection. But is that really fair to packaging? It seems to me that packaging is willingly taking on more responsibility for the problem when it is only able to contribute a small part in solving that problem. And it just seems a little unbalanced to me. Putting a product into a package is a physical act that can't be done virtually or at home, at least not in any kind of volume. Many packaging professionals left their homes and continue to work inside manufacturing plants to keep operations running during the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to say thank you for providing necessary products to the country, to the world, during a scary time. You put yourself at risk, and I want to acknowledge that and tell you how much I appreciate what you did for me, for my family, for our country, for the world. Thank you. In 1999, I was working for a different publication, Food and Drug Packaging. Ed Landon owned the brand at the time and gave me my big break as an editor-in-chief. Thank you, Ed. Well, that year, on the cusp of the new millennium, the magazine was celebrating its 40th anniversary. And after more than a year of planning, painstaking research, and hundreds of man-hours of work, we published a special anniversary issue that looked at the past, present, and future of packaging. It's one of my proudest achievements. I always try to do my best, and I am so lucky that I have worked with and am still working with professionals who share my propensity for high standards. I'm looking at you, Rick Lingle. Here are some of the technologies I'm keeping my eye on for packaging. Artificial intelligence is so interesting, but I've got to ask, how much packaging education and experience do the folks have who are writing these computer programs? I'm going to find out. I think for clearly defined yes or no questions, though, AI is going to do really well. So I see good potential for production efficiencies and predictive maintenance. On the packaging design side, I'm still on the fence. I think creativity needs actual intelligence, which is a different kind of AI, still AI, but a different kind. I think holograms for packaging design, especially for directions for use, are leading edge and extremely helpful for the consumer. Would love to see more of that. I see a lot of new potential for package track and trace technologies, product safety and anti-counterfeiting still, of course. But with today's supply chain disruptions, how powerful would it be to pinpoint exactly where and when items are at any time? We need more sensors for food safety. Wait, that's not right. We need to use more sensors to indicate if food is safe to consume or not. That's what I wanted to say, because there are already many sensor technologies available. They're just not very widely used. And why do I say that we need to use more of them? Mostly because there are so many more e-commerce purchases and direct to consumer deliveries today, and there's no real safety net for maintaining proper temperature from point A to someone's table. Could be a disaster in the making that could be preempted. Here's some free advice, which you could take or leave. To get the recognition and the resources you deserve, packaging departments must have a seat at the table. That is, they must report directly into the C-suite. If you're not already doing this, fight for it hard. Don't report through marketing or through production or operations. Report directly into upper management. You'll control how your message gets heard, and you'll better understand from key executives how packaging can contribute to the company's bottom line and help it achieve its vision. Should we reconsider centralized or public purchasing groups for packaging commodities? Considering today's manufacturing challenges, this might be a good idea for suppliers now because dedicated manufacturing lines are highly efficient. Is this a step back? Maybe, maybe not. Like how real estate is driven by location, 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 manufacturing is led by volume, volume, volume. I guess I'm longing for the good old days of dedicated production lines that deliver more profits, considering today's economy. I think packaging departments need to establish, maintain, and improve relations with regulators so that you have input into future laws, which I think there will be more of related to packaging. Remember that there's strength in numbers, so find a packaging group that has government connections and knows how to lobby. I can be quite persistent in tracking down a story if I think it's a good one. The folks at Kellogg might agree. In the 1990s, the number of packaging innovations coming from them were fast and furious. So every couple of months for 7 years, I asked different people in packaging and in the public relations department if I could do an article with them, getting insights into their packaging successes. Someone finally said yes. In 2006, Kellogg was celebrating its 100th anniversary, and they were finally open to some publicity. The time was right, and guess who was right there? The profile article that I did, which I think was about 20 pages long, earned me a gold award for editorial excellence in the individual company profile category from the American Society of Business Publication Editors. But the recognition isn't the reason that article means so much to me. It's because Kellogg's packaging influenced me much earlier in life. My family has a cottage in beautiful Southwest Michigan, about 45 minutes from the Kellogg's headquarters in Battle Creek. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, my dad took me and my sisters to the Kellogg plant, and this was back when they had public tours, when they still had public tours. I distinctly remember being mesmerized by the movement and the thunder of the machinery that was packaging cereal in single-serve boxes that you could open, actually pour milk in, and eat right out of the box. That event, that childhood event, shaped my future, and I'm pretty sure that I'm a packaging media editor because of that experience. If you can, give kids you know a packaging experience that just might change their life. Draw them into the wonderful world of packaging.